The Pickens County Council meeting of Monday, March 3rd, 2025. This meeting is being held to conform with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act and the council's organizational rules. The public's been notified of the date, time, and place of the meeting. Public notice and the agenda was placed on the county website and the bulletin board at the county administration building at least 24 hours prior to the start of this meeting. The first item up tonight is the invocation. Councilor Chris Lawless.
Lord, we come to you tonight thankful and grateful for your mercy and grace. Thank you for keeping your hand of protection over the 6 Mile area this weekend. Thank you for just watching out for all the first responders and the residents there and everyone that's been affected by that event. We're thankful because we know from looking at things that have happened like that in other areas how devastating something like that could be. And it was truly your hand that kept everyone safe and no more property being damaged than it was. We thank you for all the blessings that you've given this entire county. We ask that you be here with us tonight as we meet and take care of the county business. Please bless every person here and help us to do your will. In your precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. The next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pickens County Veteran Service Officer Walt Carter will introduce us to a great American.
Mary Ann McIntyre Stokely honorably served our country in the United States Army from September 22nd, 1967 until September 12, 1969. While serving as a nurse in Vietnam, First Lieutenant Stokely met and later married Army veteran Richard Stokely, who had been injured during the conflict. During Lieutenant Stokely's time of service, she was awarded National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal. First Lieutenant Stokely now resides in Pickens County. Veteran Mary Ann Stokely served our country honorably, and today we show her our appreciation. Thank you for your service.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your representative is Councilman Chris Bowers, and he's going to present you with a token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much for your service for our country, representing our county. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, why is everybody here? I am going to make a motion to move item 11A, which is the recognition of Pickens County Emergency Services employees to right now. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? No discussion? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. The next item up is the recognition of Pickens County Emergency Services employees. The administration will present on that.
As you can see, I'm not Ken Roper this evening, but I'm standing in. I'd invite Billy Gibson, our Emergency Services Chief, to the stand.
Thank you, Ms. Fowler. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. We know y'all got a lot going on tonight, so we appreciate the opportunity to time on the agenda to recognize some folks that are dear to my heart and dear to several families in this county because they have saved lives. They're families that have been directly impacted by their life-saving efforts. But this council also has a direct impact because the equipment that this council supported, purchased, and to put in their hands for life-saving purposes, and also the second part of that is the training element. This council funded a full-time training coordinator for Pickens County EMS so that we have the best trained first response medically in the business. We're not just keeping pace, we're leading the way. At this time, I'm going to recognize our EMS director, Meredith Teskey, our training coordinator, Deidre Keister, and our medical control doctor, Daniel Swearine, to come forth and finish it out. They don't want to hear me talk. So thank y'all for letting us be with you.
Good evening, Chairman and ladies and gentlemen of council. I would like to thank each of you for allowing us to be here tonight. We're here to recognize our first responders who played a vital role in an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest save. Each year, EMS cares for more than 350,000 individuals in the United States experiencing non-traumatic out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. Approximately 90% of these individuals that experience out-of-hospital cardiac arrest will die. Survival to discharge from the hospital after a cardiac arrest after receiving treatment is only 10% national. There are several links in the chain of survival that improves these outcomes. Early access to CPR, early defibrillation, and early advanced care. Early access and early CPR instructions are being provided by our Pickens County dispatchers. Early CPR and defibrillation are being provided by our fire and rescue partners. Early advanced care is being provided by EMS and our air transport providers. As you can see, everyone represented here tonight has played a vital role in a patient's survival. Pickens County Emergency Services is proud to present 8 groups of life-saving awards. These awards are presented to responders who have successfully revived an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest patient, allowing them to be discharged from the hospital to resume a normal and productive life. I will ask that Dr. Serene, he is our medical control physician for Pickens County EMS, Dietrich Easter, our training officer for Pickens County. I will ask these providers who responded to the following calls for service to step forward and receive your award. February 2nd, 2024, Pickens County EMS, Easley Fire. These responders are Assistant Supervisor Kevin Campbell, FTO Jared Chappell, FTO Nick Saunders, Abigail Goldberg, and Alex Hawk. September 20th, 2024, Shay Marlin, Nicholas Saunders, Alex Cochran, Tate Griffin, Jacob Richardson, and Jonathan Davis, and Emily DeJarmano. Sorry. November 25th, 2024, Lake and Pilgrim, FTO Jared Chappell, Tyler Gibson, Brandon Harrington, Austin Keith, Jacob Wilson, Kevin Kay, Cameron Smith, Matt Wall, Britton Tate, Hunter Vaughn, Alicia Whitcomb, and LifeNet 10 crew. December 4th, 2024, call number 8, Assistant Supervisor Kevin Campbell, FTO Jared Chappell, Cameron Smith, Randall Cobb, Captain Shannon Dales, Lieutenant Brandon Bradley, Daniel Haddon, Thomas Lucas, Patrick Dale, and Brianna Smith. December 4th, 2024, call B, Nate Dion, Jack Taylor, FTO Jared Chapel, Jacob Smith, Captain Justin Howard, Jonathan Neely, John Neely, Caleb Castle, Jordan Weiss, Brandon Gosnell, Matt Holcomb, and Gracie Crenshaw.
That's why it's there so long.
December the 11th, 2024, Abigail Musselwhite, Brandon Harrington, Noah Brooks, Stephen Harvell, Harrison McLean, Isaiah Reynolds, and Derek Sargent, and Caleb Blake. Some of the responders that are in this group of people are down in the low country serving with the firefighter mobilization for the wildfires that are down there. So we'll give those certificates to those individuals. January 1st, 2024, call A, Assistant Supervisor Michael James, Andy Anderson, Jeffrey Bird, Dustin Alexander, Brian Barkley, Brandon Rowland, Jonathan Neely, Ethan Lee, Jonathan Crump, and Zach Sierra. January 20th, 2025, call number B. Greg Larkin, Assistant Supervisor, Training Officer, District Easter, Allie Marlin, Randall Cobb, Brandon Rowland, Isaac Alexander, Pat Wilburn, Jeff Howard, Tyler Whitcomb, Sam Ellenberg, Jordan Weiss, Sydney Weiss, Braden Gosnell, Alicia Whitcomb, and LifeNet 10 crew.
Thank you for saving a life, many lives.
Thank you. Thanks.
I want to thank each of these responders here for their continued dedication to excellence in pre-hospital care in Pickens County. Let's give all these providers a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. Next item up tonight is public forum. The County Council hosts a public forum at its regularly scheduled monthly meeting each month. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per participant. Now the clerk will introduce us to the first speaker.
Mr. Chairman and members of council, we have one public speaker tonight, Paul Frederickson. Paul Frederickson. One more time, Paul Frederickson. Mr. Chairman and members of council, this concludes the public forum.
Yeah. Okay, item number 3 tonight is approval of minutes. And I'm going to make a motion to accept the minutes of February 3rd, February 10th, February 18th, and February 26th. Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion on the minutes?
Sorry, who seconded?
Mr. Lawless was first. We both did, but
Okay.
he was first.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Okay, the next item up is the administrator's report. As we know, Mr. Roper is not here tonight, and Allison will be presenting on behalf of the administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Allison Fowler, Assistant Administrator here with Pickens County. Ken Roper is busy attending the 2025 NACO Legislative Conference up in Washington, D.C. He serves as the Vice Chair of the Resilient Counties Advisory Board for NACO and has been busy learning about future things. I think he mentioned he had an administrators roundtable the other day where they had an idea sharing session that he really enjoyed. So while he's in DC, he's also meeting with Congresswoman Sherry Biggs and representatives from Senator Graham's office. I believe one of those meetings happened today and one tomorrow, and specifically about funding for Fort Prince George, which we'll talk about later on the agenda. So I appreciate y'all letting me be in his stead this evening. So I wanted to give you a little update on the 6 Mile Mountain fire that we've already referenced here tonight. So the fire began on what we believe was a residential structure, and the windy conditions and weather late Saturday caused that to expand to other areas of the mountain. So our own county fire personnel, along with South Carolina Forestry, worked together into the early hours of Sunday morning to contain that fire. As you can see from the photos above, one of our own radio towers was affected and completely consumed by the flames. So we wanted to say thank you to council for your foresight in allowing us to spend ARPA funding on a resilient communications plan. Because of that plan, we were able to shift those communications over to the Kite Hill Tower until the one in 6 Mile could be brought back online. I want to say a big thank you to our partners at Fleet Talk as well, as they brought that back fully operational as of 3 p.m. today. So amazing turnaround time and great work by all. We had a shelter set up quickly, evacuations ordered, and there was no injuries or loss of life to either residents or our own personnel. So thank you all involved in that. A quick update on our brush removal. As y'all know, we've contracted with SCDOT and their contractor to remove the brush along the roadways left over from Hurricane Helene. As of Friday, SCDOT submitted a punch list to their contractor of the roads that still are identified as having brush along them. There were several county roads on that list, so we know that that job is not quite done. And we hope to hear back from DOT on what remains. We are committed to making sure that all of that brush is removed, whether it's by that contractor or us if it need be in the end. So that is ongoing, but hopefully wrapping up soon. quick update as well on solid waste and recycling. Mentioned the brush, back in the February meeting, council approved the purchase of a new grinder. Just wanted to run through that with y'all. So the old one was not able to keep up with the amount of brush that we had coming in, especially with all the extra volume that we weren't expecting from the hurricane. And so it was always broken, always needing repairs. And so this new one allows us to keep up with that output. And we're gonna keep the existing one for backup if needed down the road. The specs for the new brush grinder are out to bid now. Those bids are due in on March 12th. So as soon as a vendor is selected, that will be purchased. Hopefully that is in stock, and so it will be a quick delivery. And then they'll do training with us, and vehicle maintenance will assist with any insurance at that point. And then on to our other solid waste. So fires are a popular thing this month, unfortunately. So as of February 6th, the landfill fire is completely out. We want to thank all of our responders that helped with that as well. That was a combined effort between solid waste and our county emergency services to make sure that that fire stayed contained. Unfortunately, we did lose a piece of equipment there, but the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services visited Friday to clear us for reopening. So as of this morning, the landfill is back fully operational, and brush is being accepted, or brown goods are being accepted at all of our recycle centers. So we know that was hard for our citizens and even our internal county services for the last week or two. And so we are thankful that those are back open and functional as of today. Last meeting, we also discussed how staff is going to undertake a thorough review of our solid waste operations across the board, both budget, the way that we work, the way recycle centers are laid out, all of that is included in that. Several of our centers are hard to navigate for the public, and so what we are doing is a thorough review looking at the way that the centers are laid out. We want to make sure that those routes are sustainable, that they make sense, and especially that they are safe for our citizens and our workers that are out there. So that process is ongoing, and our goal is to be as safe and efficient as we can, as well as use our existing resources to do what renovations we can. So we want to be very budget conscious with this process. And that is the end of the report, if you all have any
Very
questions.
good. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just have one question. The piece of equipment lost, I believe that was an excavator.
Yes.
Is that going to be an insurance claim, or is that something that we'll just have to replace as
That-
part of capital?
That will be an insurance claim. SCAC was out, I believe, 2 weeks ago
Okay.
to look at the site for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the administration? Good to go. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Good job. Next item up is number 5, committee reports. Council Holloway is the chairman of the EMS committee. Do you have a report for us?
Sir, the EMS committee met on February 10th, and a sizable amount of information is passed along which covered multiple areas of need. These areas will be looked at as we look at the upcoming budget. The EMS subcommittee also met on February 26th. Our primary objective at this meeting was to study the feasibility, cost, location of a future EMS station. The EMS subcommittee met with the Chief of Emergency Services, Mr. Billy Gibson, and the County Administrator, Mr. Ken Roper, on the 26th. And it was determined that our first priority to look at was Medic 1. It appears that an 18-month timeline was given to address the building situation. We now have 12 months left to fulfill the county's obligation. This proposal would entail the complete removal of the existing structure on the site behind the Pickens County Library and the new construction of a new station at that said site. It was determined that the second priority needed to be addressed was the call volume of the EMS services in the Easley area. 3 proposals were given. Proposal number 1, to construct a new building on the east side of Easley in the 123 and 153 area. A station in this area would have the greatest impact on the reducing of the time response and taking care of the call volume. At present, the county does not own property in this location, but possible negotiations are forthcoming. Proposal number 2 was to renovate the existing station on Popeville Road in Easley to increase its capacity. While the proposal would strengthen the overall EMS capability in the Easley area, it still does not address the response time that is needed. Proposal number 3, this proposal looked at the possible renovation of the Croswell Fire Station to accommodate an EMS need there. It was determined that because of the complexity of the site preparation, having to locate the entire sewer system, etc., and other complications, this would be the least desirable option of the 3 proposals that were set forth. The Central and Clemson area station 4 has extra bays and could be potentially renovated with minimal work involved in that. Another ideal thing would be to set up Medic 11, which is currently a 12-hour truck, and convert it into a 24-hour truck based at a Medic Station 4. At the present time, there are no hard numbers as to the construction costs per square foot, and these estimates will be shared at a later date.
Okay, Councilors Bowers, Lawless, and myself are not on this committee. Do you have any questions or input that you want to give to the committee?
Yeah, where do we stand on getting those financial quotes? Because, making a decision to move forward, especially with Medic One, we're in that 12-month time window. We will need to move forward, but without knowing real dollars, it's hard to do that. So do we have a guesstimate on when we would receive hard numbers there?
I was just told that they are looking into it now.
My understanding, if I may, was that when we get the first draft of the budget from Mr. Roper, it's going to have several of the items priced out within the budget we'll be considering. So it should be on a similar schedule to our first draft of the budget.
So, Mr. Chairman, my concern with that is the timeliness, unless the city of Pickens is going to extend us. Medic One station in particular we're 12 months out, and that's my concern.
I got it.
To speak to that, I think Billy shared with me that 12 months, if anything was just started, they would work with us beyond that.
Okay.
In other words, we have 12 months to actually start the construction.
Okay.
Oh,
I feel better about that.
Yeah.
now, at Medic One, that's my focus because that's the first one. What do we need to build there? Well, we don't need new ambulances there because they're working out of the temporary station, I would imagine. I would imagine we don't need personnel. We're just going to need to clear it, put a building in, hook up to the sewer. Is that what we're looking at?
That's what we're looking
It needs, sorry to interrupt, it will need a new sewer line. The sewer is the problem, so there will be a cost for redoing the sewer line I have. But we believe we can follow a footprint we've used before. And I did want to say, 11 years ago, it cost $700,000 to build a new station. So that was 11 years ago. So if that helps you get some numbers in room.
Okay, let me give you my input. I may be naive on this, but the administration is going to give you the location options. They're going to give you the cost estimates. They're going to tell you how we can pay for it. And it's going to come down to you to make a choice and make a recommendation to us. In my opinion, there's not a lot of added value in that. I mean, you could take a manager in the system who's been looking at this forever and dreams about it and probably make a recommendation. It's just as good, if not better, than what we do. Now, I think the added value in the committee is going to come in 2 ways. One is you're going to bring in people and you're going to talk to those that are not normally involved in the decision-making process. And I thought it was really wise of you to first meet with the Emergency Services Board, giving them direct input. I thought that was excellent. Now, the second thing is the committee needs to question things and be innovative in ways that the system is not naturally, but needs to be. That to me is critical. Like, I sit there and I'm naive. Medic One is going to be behind the library. You got to knock down the building. You got to build a structure that's at least 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, living room, and a kitchen, 1,100 square foot. And then you got to build 2 or 3 metal garage bays in a metal garage. That's probably what you're looking at. rescued, what we have right now is a temporary building. It's about 800 square feet. We paid 104,000 for it. Granted, it's like a modular, you know. And I was looking at new houses in Greenville with my daughter, and they're running at $200 a square foot. Land, turnkey, everything, granite countertops. The building in the back here, we're building for 12.1 million, 32,000 square feet, so that's $378 a square foot. So that's, you know, the numbers that I use as a reference, and granted, I could be naive. So the question is, if the structure is going to be 1,100 square feet, I listened to the estimate of $1.5 million and almost fell over. That's about $1,400 a square foot. So I could be naive. It could be stricter codes. And if so, you need to track down that's the reason why it's so expensive. It could be that they want something bigger than 1,100 square feet. That could be the problem. It could be a flaw in the procurement process. I mean, we announced to the world the estimate of $1.5 million, and lo and behold, the bids are going to come in at $1.5 million. You know, so I mean, my solution to that would be real simple. I would sit down with the bidders before and say, you know, you're not competing against each other, but you're competing against a 1,100 square foot modular home that we'll buy off the shelf. You know, if your prices are outrageous. I mean, like I said, $1.5 million on a building to me that's going to be 1,100 square feet when we're building this one in the back for a third of the cost. Like I said, you have to find out what's going on there. And my advice is what I would do if I was on the committee. I would say, give me a general plan for the building. Give me the specific things or specific requirements that are unusual. Take that, go to a builder that you know and say, what would it cost me to build this right now in this market? And I'm not saying he should do the job. Somebody you know, somebody you trust, you can go out there. Anybody can find those in their district. This way, at least you have a reference point. You're not going to be flying blindly when these estimates start to come in at you. Because right now, I'm blind. Those are my 3 reference points that I gave you. Building in the back, or the building for houses in Greenville, and the temporary home. You need to get those reference points, I think. That's going to be key. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And the administration has all the incentive in the world, I think, to drill down on the cost too, because I'd be surprised if we approved building 3 EMS stations at $1.5 million each. That's $4.5 million on top of the $12 million we're spending in the back for emergency services. We got 30 other departments. We can't be spending all that money in one place. So, I mean, there's incentive for the administration to drill down on these costs as well.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I do have another question. The Medic 4 and Medicaid station renovations,
Which ones of those? Tell us.
the Clemson and the Easley station renovation option. I believe that was option 2 for Easley. Is that work that can be done by in-house by?
That petition can be in-house as well as the central.
That, and do we have a guesstimate on what that would be to do it in-house?
That's not shared.
Okay. The reason I bring that up is, and I get adding an additional truck, turning 12-hour trucks into 24, that's part of the budget process, this, that, and the other. But there's really no reason to not move forward with those 2 projects, to wait on Medic 1 if we're going to do in-house versus going to have someone else do the other. You understand where I'm getting at here? That's the only reason I ask is, again, the financial piece there.
And to be clear, we were presented with 9 asks for the first budget year. I don't know if we can do all 9, but it wasn't, the needs are high for Medic 1, Medic 8, and 4, but also there was like a lot of other things. These are not the only cost and the only ask for this budget year. We've only presented on these, but there's other things that are needed, like ventilators and lifts and generators. It's a package. It's not, to your point, it's not like we're going to do one and wait until it's built and then put check marks by it and do another. There's several things that are needed this budget cycle.
Have you talked to Ralph Green? Has he been in your committee meetings?
No, because we haven't gotten to the level of
Okay,
cost.
that's because he is going to be the one that, you know, like you have to come up with the location, the design, cost, and then how do you pay for it? He's the how to pay for it. And I believe he said he had a plan for 2 years. Now, I think it was on the capital side, not on all the additional things that were kind of more budget items, but I would make sure that he gets pulled into the conversation and say, Ralph, what can we do here?
I do agree with you though, Mr. Chairman. Building 3 new EMS stations or 2 new EMS stations, at the same time. It's like when the school district built all the new high schools, I realize it's not the same scale, but it is the same concept. It doesn't make sense to build 3 new buildings at the exact same time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, any other questions for the committee?
Unless we need 3 buildings.
Okay. Next item up is council correspondence number 6. On Monday, March 10th, I'd like to schedule a work session for up to 3 items. One is going to be the administration and council of ours had listed pay, retention, and training as one of their top goals for the next fiscal year. The administration will present on that at the March 10th meeting. So that's going to be an early kickoff to the budget process. The second item I'd like to have on March 10th is the council worked on rewriting the litter ordinance about 2 years ago. We got pretty close to finishing that, but we didn't do it. Let's see if we can get that across the finish line on March 10th.
Litter what, I'm sorry?
Litter.
Litter ordinance.
Yeah. So can the clerk please send the current litter ordinance to all councilors, as well as the proposal you had at the last meeting when we had that? So we'll all be up to speed on March 10th on that. And I think the third item, Mr. Roper has something for the third item, which he'll mention to me when he gets back. Now, the next meeting is going to be March 24th. It's going to be a budget meeting. That meeting will get projections on how much revenue is going to be up and going to rise next year. We're going to get a sense of how much we're going to spend of that, how much we're going to try to save, if any. Get estimates on employee pay, particularly step increases and cost of living increases. And everybody needs to review their to-do list and think of how we can incorporate those things into the budget and still do and get the budget passed. The regular council meeting, first regular council meeting in April is April 7th. So I hope to have a first reading on the budget then. It's going to have a short outline, kind of outlining what I just mentioned. Now, Council Holloway, have you scheduled another EMS
We
meeting?
have not, as of yet.
Okay, so any other announcements does anybody on the council want to make? Okay, next item up is number 7, motions for new business. Do I hear any motions for new business?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to put onto the consent agenda, something to move into the next committee meeting. I guess we're not calling it work session meeting. I'd like to discuss a potential resolution coming from this council on House Bill 3858, which is the boat tax bill. If anyone has read your updates from SCAC, this will directly affect our budget, and I'd like to discuss having a discussion for this council to inform our delegation. I'd like to put that in committee and consent agenda.
All right, second for discussion.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, just better explain what that is, because I don't know what it is.
House Bill 3858 is a proposal that's it's going to have a hearing in the state soon, which would propose a 50% discount on all boat taxes, including boat and motor taxes. To give you some reference, I checked with our auditor. Last fiscal year, the county received $738,586 in boat tax funds. The school district received $1.4 million of that. So in total, the county plus school receives $2.2 million, a little more than that, in boat tax revenue. That is an incredible addition to our budget. And there are a collection of House representatives who are proposing that all of those taxes be cut in half, which would influence our county by more than $1.1 million less in our county revenue. The South Carolina Association of Counties is asking for county councils who may oppose this incredible cut to their budget to put forward a statement towards the delegation. I don't know if we are interested in doing that entirely as a council or if members wanted to do it individually, but I wanted to consider putting that on a committee discussion.
Okay. Any further discussion? My only thought is there's so many bills that get proposed that most of them just never make it. I mean, I've been watching Columbia since I was on the school board.
I know. This has been proposed in previous years and moved and now has something like 15 to 18 co-sponsors on it.
Right.
So it's gaining momentum, but it would be a significant hit to our current budget if it passes.
Okay. So those in favor, those who want to add this item to the consent agenda tonight, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. So that's going to be resolution relating to House Bill H 3858.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's actually also Senate 317, but it's not showing up.
Okay, any other new business? Okay, next item up is ordinances for first reading. Item number 8A is a recreational rule change. So as printed in the council packet, I want to make a motion to add these rules to section 2818 and strike 2819 from the current ordinance. Do I hear a second? Any discussion? Is everybody with me?
This is the repeat of what we did in our work session.
Yes.
This is the official readings needed to change.
I can read, you want me to read those rules? I can if you'd like.
Well, I've got them.
You got it? Okay. Any discussion on this? Okay, what I would like to do, here's my discussion. Look at Rule 4 closely. It says the request must be for an event or capital project. And that would leave out programs like swimming lessons or baseball league supplements. And we approve those all the time.
It should be event or program.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is make an amendment to my motion to add programs, so the phrase will read events, programs, or capital projects. You understand? Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Is it clear?
I'll second that.
Second. Any discussion on my amendment? Because otherwise, I think it looks pretty good.
I have another amendment, but go ahead with yours first.
Okay, we'll do one at a time. Okay, and any other discussion on my amendment? Okay, so those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. The amendment passes. Any other discussion?
Yes, please. The amendment, number 2 says the requesting organization must be a registered nonprofit organization or government entity, no political organizations. I'd like to amend that to say no political or religious organizations. I don't think we want to be doing county funds for church programs.
Is that even legal?
I don't think so.
So my question is, giving county government money to a religious organization is illegal.
We did it last budget year for a living nativity scene with tourism dollars that was sponsored by a church. It was the county recreation committees advised against it, and then we funded it anyway.
So, Mr. Chairman, just for the sake of that argument, the religious organization verbiage is one that should versus shall argument. I mean, if you think about the YMCA and what the YMCA stands for, to your point about the swim lessons, that's who does the swim lessons. Technically, they're all school district students, so you could give the money to the school district to give to the YMCA, but I'm afraid by putting that religious block out in there, that's a Pandora's box, unintended consequence.
I agree with that.
And I think Mr. Hendricks wanted to chime in.
Well, we're discussing this without a second.
I'll second for the sake of discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Would it be better to change it to church? My concern is that Vacation Bible School would start coming to ask for this, or that kind of thing, which I'm not saying are bad. I'm just saying the question is whether or not, if we're rewriting and looking at all government funds, I just wanted to clarify, because I do know we have a lot of programs being done through our churches, and I don't want to be in the business of choosing one over the other.
Yeah, like I said, I think if it happened, I think civilly we'd face some consequences, but we could. It would get. I think it should be fought out in civil court.
In court?
Somebody would sue over it. Right? So you're saying if we gave money to some church, I mean, at some point somebody would sue over it, and then that would be a rule right there. I mean, the rules, they would just look at precedent and they would shoot it down. Right? I mean, I think it's illegal.
Okay. I'm not.
Yeah.
The recreation
It's like
funds
saying,
seem to be our.
it's like
own.
passing an ordinance that says, all our drivers need to stop at red lights. I mean, that law is already there.
Is it true that the rule's already there?
Excuse me?
Is it true that the rule's already there, that we can't give recreation funds to religious?
Yeah, I think it would be inappropriate to do that, and whether or not a court would uphold that as being unconstitutional, I cannot tell you that.
But it's
Certain.
fine, but it's.
But I would think that council would be very reluctant to do that
when the request came. So it's a matter of where you're saying a religious organization is. You're talking about the YMCA, that is an organization that it's Young Men's Christian Association. And obviously that is something that council has supported in the past. But if you're talking about a particular denomination, I've not seen council do that. And they did, I think they would be treading very perilously on losing the lawsuit.
How
So,
we funded them too.
so your motion is to.
It's fine,
You're gonna withdraw it?
I'll withdraw it.
All right, so we're back to the original motion plus my amendment. Do I need to make a motion on that?
No.
No?
For the amendment, you voted on the amendment.
Yeah, so at this point, Chris, do I need to make a motion on that?
You had your first motion, you motioned on the amendment, we voted on the amendment, so now we just call for.
Okay, any discussion on that final product, which is what's in the packet plus my amendment? No discussion? Okay, those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign, passes unanimously. Let's got one more reading. No, actually it was first reading. It's got two more readings. All right, next item up is going to be ordinances for second reading, and this is going to be 9A. There's a lot written there on 9A. I'm just going to take what the operative words are, so you'll know what it is. 9A is real clear. Property in Oconee County. This is that on-paper partnership that Pickens has with Oconee, and they want to do a project over there in Oconee. They want to get access to state tax cuts and state benefits. They have to partner with us. It costs Pickens County nothing. They do the project over there. They give us 1% of their revenue for this paper partnership. That's it. I'm going to make a motion to accept this as presented here, item 9A.
Second.
Here a second. Any discussion on this? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign, passes unanimously. Next item up is 9B. This is a second reading. And the operative words here are second reading of a fee in lieu agreement between Pickens County and Project Pigeon. So this is a tax deal Pickens County's giving to a new company. Now I'll make a motion for discussion purposes on this. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion on this item? No, all right, I'm gonna say something. All right, I voted against this in first reading. I'll tell you why. I'm gonna vote no again on it. Farmhouse and Big Dog are industrial parks that the county owns and is developing. The council paid to buy those properties. I think one was about 150 acres and one was about, maybe 80 acres? We paid the going rate of about 30,000 an acre on those properties. And a few weeks ago, we sold a different piece of land to Project Pigeon for a discounted rate of about 10,000 in cash and product credits. So they got a substantial discount. Now this proposal goes a step further by giving this new company freezing their property tax rate for the next 20 years. That's what I have an issue with. We got 150 manufacturers in this county. About 25 of them, we've frozen their tax rate for a period of time. The bigger ones in the industrial parks, we've actually given them land and the improvements to the land for free. Now, when you look at those other 125 manufacturers, we've given them nothing or next to nothing. And many of them have been here for decades. I see this as unfair, and I'm going to oppose deals like this that I think go too far. And I think this giving Project Pigeon a steep discount on the land they purchased and freezing their taxes for 20 years, I think goes too far. So I'm going to vote no to this second aspect of it, which is freezing their taxes for 20 years. I think it's enough incentive that we gave them the property for 1/3 the value, in my opinion. We vote no on this. Any other discussion? Okay, those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay, that fails 4-2. Next item up is ordinances for third reading, and we have none. And the next item up is 11, which is other agenda items. We've already had the recognition of the county emergency services. Next item is something unique, presentation from the DOT on Pickens County area. Is Harry here? There he is, our guy. Come on up. I can't pronounce your last name. I'm sorry. He's going to give us an update on, look, you are, let me just give it the correct title. You are the resident construction engineer for Pickens County?
That's correct.
And he's going to give us an update on what this DOT is doing with highways in terms of repaving and bridges in Pickens County.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to come and share some of this. To maybe shed some light. If you got any questions, so I can take it afterwards. So I'll give you a brief update here on. My name is Ari Landman, the resident construction engineer for Pickens County, representing the DOT. And so I administer, our office administers all the construction projects with regards to resurfacing roads, bridge reconstruction, etc. So what I've got here is I've got a couple different groupings of projects here. So I'll go over first are bridges. Everybody's talking about bridges. Emergency repairs. Currently, we've got some repairs going on SD-135. There's 4 bridges involved in this project. The road is closed currently and probably closed for another couple months until we get the bridge open there at Highway 8. There's 3 other bridges on the road as well. We'll be closing the road back down after that for about 60 days to repair one of the intermediate bridges. And after that, the rest of the work will be done under lane closures, so the traffic will be able to pass through. Then, as you're aware, also the bridge on SC8, just up from the intersection of 145, will be going down after we've done some work on 135. I believe that's going to be on a 60-day term as well. Another bridge under this emergency repairs is Winding Creek, there by Chastain, Pine Trail, and it'll be going down also for a short period, a couple of weeks to replace some parts on it. After that, we've got you're aware of the bridge package 16 that's being worked on right now, which includes some of the bridges on 123, and then currently the 2 bridges that are on 183. Both sides of the Jockey-Lock. And so the one on Gregory Creek, which is the one on the 6 mile side of the Jockey-Lock, is slated to be open later in the fall of 2025. The bridge over 12 Mile Creek, which is the Pickens side of the Jockey-Lock, is probably going to be by the beginning of 2026. Another bridge package that's coming down will be awarded in May or early June. Has 2 bridges out of 8 are in Pickens County. The other 6 are in Greenville County. But part of that is Pace Bridge Road that has 3 bridges in a row, so they're kind of being lined on both sides. So that road will be the first one to get some love summer and fall of 2025. Then, once all the bridges are done around the Jockey-Lock, then SC-133 at Crow Creek is going to get replaced. And that's going to get replaced what they call offline. So they're going to build a bridge next to the existing bridge, and then they're going to divert traffic, so minimal downtime. And that is scheduled to go out to bids in August of 2025. So construction probably going to start late. And then Hester Store Road, everybody's favorite, that was down for a while, is up and running with a temporary bridge. And the permanent bridge is going out to bids later in September 2025. So there's some bridge updates for you guys. Further questions regarding those. Road resurfacing. go over some of the stuff we got going right now is, in the neighborhood of plus minus 55 miles, roads are currently being resurfaced, patched, and reclaimed in Pickens County. So, if you look at the maps, Pickens County versus Greenville County, it's significantly less number of roads in Pickens County. 55 miles is a big. So, some of the roads included on the reclamation, which are basically being rebuilt in place. SC 133 from Clemson all the way to 6 Mile. Chastain, Crestview, Old Cherry, Grand Valley, Piney Trail, all of these roads will be rebuilt in place. So what that means is traffic will be maintained and passed through, so there's no road closures and lane closure. It'll inconvenience the public in minimal ways. As far as resurfacing goes, Madden Bridge Road, Croswell, Old Shirley, Fleetwood, Cedar Rock, and Monroe, as well as SC 135 from Dacusville, from the four-way all the way down to the hospital. SC 183, Greenville County, Jim Hunt, are all getting patched and resurfaced. So, I know a lot of people sometimes they see us working and it looks like randomly fixed spots and we just put new asphalt down and they wonder if that's what the final product will look like. That's merely setting the road up for a new base. So most all this patching work is almost complete. So next will be once temperatures start showing warmer numbers for us to pave, they're going to start milling and you'll start seeing some new roads final ways. 2020, 2025, we're going to 2026. SD8, SC93, US 178, S36 Saluda Dam Road, Berkeley Drive, Couch Lane, and Johnson Street are the next set of roads that are coming through to patch and claim resurface. So, like I said, there's a lot of roads. There's a lot of roads that are crisscrossing. What we ask is that the driving public has any questions, any concerns. So please contact us, let us know. I know there's a lot of cones and barrels and stuff on the roads, and sometimes people get a little complacent and start going blind to the safety precautions and so forth. But there's a lot of work being done in Pickens County, and we want to keep those people safe. So, and then we have two more what we consider safety improvement projects. And so SC 183 in Ireland intersection is going to get a left turn lane from 183 onto Ireland. And contractors are already on site, starting to clear. So again, barrels and cones, please be careful. And then US 178 from Henderson County line all the way to US 123 with the Sphinxes. That corridor is going to get rebuilt. It's going to get widened. The road itself is not going to get widened. The shoulders will get widened, make it safer. Shoulders and drives, all that is going to get upgraded to better suit that corridor. Back towards Henderson. So, all these projects are under schedules and stuff like that. So, some additional questions, and you'll may have already gotten some of these answers passed on. A little bit out of my department, but what I want to relay for you all as well is, if it's any questions regarding traffic, future roads and stuff like that, then I would suggest that we have a district office that handles Coney, Pickens, Greenville, and Spartanburg counties, and they can easily navigate and get you.
Is that the one in Greenville?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's 241.
241-1010.
Okay.
It's an easy number. And based on your question, they will route you and put you in touch with the person who is best suited to answer your questions. A lot of times it ends up back in our lab just because we're the local connection. So, but anything regarding traffic, I think a hot topic has been what's going on at the intersection of Highway 11 and Sue's. Put up some delineators a while back. That didn't seem to help, so they're putting up a flashing yellow light, so it's some advanced warning. Folks in Columbia are looking at statistics. Everything plays off of traffic volumes, accidents, and all that kind of stuff. So they're considering additional measures, but right now they're moving towards putting up that flashing yellow light at that intersection. See what goes from there.
Let's answer, can we just ask you a couple of questions? Sure. Okay, Counselor Wendell, you have any questions?
You already answered over email my questions about 123 and traffic load, that in Clemson, yes, sir, that the cameras have been installed and they're doing their job as best they can with traffic. There have been rumors for years that SCDOT was going to put a left turning block all along 123 in Clemson. That's a traffic issue. You're not the traffic guy, but.
Right. Yes, and there's a lot of things you can do, different scenarios that can play out. But yeah, it's been a discussion. I've heard of that.
No, not an action item.
That's not a, yeah. Those kind of measures sometimes take on a life of their own also. So again, it's kind of the minimum. What can you do in the minimal sense to keep the traffic flow and keep the motoring public safe?
Right.
So, but that's definitely something that can, in addition with the lights, is they're looking at pumps.
I guess, right. No, we can't buy land. We can't solve that problem right away. One question I did want to ask though is if the general public has a question, we now have Fixing County Roads, which is where they can go to learn about county issues. If they do find out it's a state road, or if they do have a question about a state road, you mentioned a phone number. Is there some online way that a person could go find out, like, why is there construction in the road next to me?
And if you just go to the SCDOT.org website, there's lots of.
I think I sent you 4 links, or had Megan send 4 links.
Yeah, those are specific, but there's a most popular radio button that you can click on, and it gives you, most of the time, takes you to a place where you're looking for.
Okay.
Generally, the general question. And then at the very bottom of the website, there's damage claims, so if you're running into road construction, something happens, you get there's damage claim, there's a road hazard, you can report potholes, you can report unsafe conditions, stuff like that. There's needs to communicate. And all those get registered, they get recorded, they get processed, and we have to respond.
Thank you.
Let me circle back to 3 things. The bridge on 135 at Highway 8.
Yes.
What is your timetable on?
Probably the next 60 days.
So you think it will be done by the end of April?
That's the hopes.
Okay.
Big item here with these, I started off with these emergency bridge projects, is the scope on these is loose in the sense of nobody really knows. It's kind of like going to do a renovation in a house. You don't know what you're going to find behind the hidden stuff. So when they pulled the panels off the bridge and started digging for the foundation to upgrade the foundation, they found stuff that we didn't want to find.
Okay, so Highway 11 at Ansu's, you're going to put a flashing light in overhead now.
Yes.
Potentially more.
Potentially more.
Okay, next item. 183 coming out of Greenville, you're paving the first 2.8 miles to about the super stop. Now, it's real bad from Pickens, what is it, Fairlane Flats, by BJ's. Is that on anybody's radar at the DOT for repaving?
It's not on our construction
List.
yet.
So it hadn't been approved yet.
If you call the 241-1010, it puts you in touch with the contract folks who work several years ahead on lists, they could probably answer the question, is it coming in 2026?
Okay.
So as of right now, I gave you all the roads that are in my possession to be repaired.
Okay, I will be calling them tomorrow. Okay, also to keep in mind, when you see roads being patched like on 135 coming out of, like by Fleetwood all the way up to Dacusville Farmers Market, that's not the final product. They're gonna wait till it warms up and then they're gonna lay a fresh coat on both sides all the way. So there's a lot of patching going on right now. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay.
Those patches are merely fixing the substructure of the road.
Okay. Councilor Holloway, you have a question? Any questions?
No, I've been watching the progress.
Okay. All right, anything else?
I have a bridge question,
Yes, sir.
and I've been hammered on this. It's like, why are all these bridges closed simultaneously? And is it because of their similar age, or is it, well, how did we get to having so many in one county closed at the same time?
It's a cycle that we are, part of it is the age, and part of it is the condition of the bridge. Increased amount of traffic, these will get bigger, development is getting, so forth, so the original 65 year lifespan of bridges, it's at 50 years, 55 years, it's starting to go, and some of them are just falling to the wayside.
Are you seeing problems with supplies? Because I know we're on Gilmert Road, we're waiting on a culvert. It's gonna take months.
From the DOT construction side, they've told us there is no supply. Materials are readily available. For a while there, I can say we were struggling with all that. We don't have any indication that anybody's
There's like one paving company, Pickens, right? Pickens County. Pretty much King does everything.
King does majority.
I've been seeing Rogers Group around too. So.
Yeah, Rogers is as well. Palmetto is not. But they usually hover around there.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the update. Thank you very much. We'll see, we'll surely come back again at some point. Okay, next item up is going to be 11C, the fiscal year 26 budget calendar. I guess the administration is going to present on that?
Yes, sir. I'd like to recognize Mr. Ralph Garino, my fellow assistant administrator and our CFO, to present on the budget calendar.
Good evening, council. You have before you, or should have in your packet, a budget calendar that we typically use every year to present to council. I know it's a little bit late. We're already in the process of the budget. One thing the administrator asked us to do is incorporate the accommodations tax, recreation type funding to that. So you'll see that in there. Currently, it's, we're in March. So right now I'm starting to look at the revenues for 2026. The auditor just gave me the value of the mill last week. So, and we're going to address Ms. Linville's concerns about the boat tax. I've been following that. So I'll get with the auditor and see what the value of the mill is. They take that out and then lose that additional revenue.
Thank you.
We will take that into consideration. So this is just kind of an overview of the budget calendar, pretty much that we use every year. I'm not sure if council has any questions. I do want to point out one item is down on April 1st. Technically, we always have it in the first meeting of April, and this one, this Monday will be for April, the 8th. We will make that.
I'll make a motion to accept the calendar as presented. Do I hear a second? Any discussion? Any questions for Rob? Mr. Guarino? Any questions? We're good to go. What was the value of the mill?
We have like 4 different values, so I don't have them written down. But we had a lot of growth in the county.
Is it 8? Is it 8 yet?
Yeah, we're in the 8. So I think we, just on real property, we had a 12.1% increase, and that's not including reassessment. So that's good news. We'll have to take into consideration the boat bill that they're discussing. So that will have some effect on it. But I'm glad we had that type of growth last year. It was an 8% in real property. And what I was given last week was 12.1% overall. And special purpose districts, that's a little bit different. Your sewer fund or fire district fund.
Sure.
Your library fund, those are different.
Any other questions? Okay, those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, next item up is 11D, Warpath Landing lease. The administration will present on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate y'all allowing me to spend some time with you reviewing Warpath Landing. So this is a current Duke Energy owned property. It is land that they are required to have for public recreation on Lake Huey as part of their FERC licensing. So this is one of several around the county. Mile Creek Park is also a Duke Energy property, and we are the current lessee and manager of that property. So it would follow a very similar path as Mile Creek Park currently does. So county staff has spent, I would say, the betterment of 2.5 years at this point, looking into not just Warpath Landing, but also the rebuilding of Fort Prince George. Those of you that have been around a while know that that is near and dear to Mr. Roper's heart since his 4th grade history lesson and sheriff here in the room. And so after several conversations with Duke about other locations around the county, Warpath came up as a possibility. But our interest in Warpath is more than just Fort Prince George. Our county staff gets multiple calls every summer season about theft, the parking situation, the lack of restroom facilities,
Lights.
fires, all kinds of things out there. I'm sure our sheriff's office is a frequent visitor to Warpath as well. Our environmental enforcement guys try to drive through as much as they can, but there's no permanent presence there. Duke does not have any staffed landings under their purview, and as we know, they are energy people, not recreation people. And so after several conversations, we are at the point that we are with them now, with the lease that you see in front of you. That lease, it reads very similarly to Mile Creek's. It is not too different. There's a little differences in what is allowed to be built there, which is what will allow us to put Fort Prince George on the property. This lease is a 20-year lease, same as Mile Creek as well, with the option to renew. Currently, the discussions with Duke Energy, they are required by FERC to put any proposal or plan for any of their properties out to their stakeholders. There's a 60-day period of review, all of that. We are still in that period, waiting to hear back from one stakeholder group. Once that is done, they're ready to move forward. What this lease allows us to do as well is partner with private funding. So we have had meetings with the Pickens County Historical Society, and they have agreed to help us privately fundraise for the potential of building Fort Prince George in the future. We've looked at a 3-phase approach to renovations. Part of what inspired this discussion is that Duke Energy, per their FERC license, is required to do some upgrades already to the parking area, as well as add the restroom facilities. And so there is a amount of money that they have not disclosed to us exactly what that number is, that they are willing to put towards phase 1, because that is work that they would have already had to do. So they have seen our phase one cost estimates. It could be that we could use a contractor that they use to bring that down. None of that work, except for maybe some dirt moving, would be anything that we could do in-house. So we would be looking to bid that out. But that is a basic overview. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
I'll make a motion to accept the lease as presented. Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion or questions?
Just a small question in terms, does this become like Mile Creek Park where we call it a Pickens County Park and it is branded fully as Pickens County? Or is this some kind of Duke Pickens County partnership, or is it Duke land? Like how will the public see it?
It would work very similarly to Mile Creek, and we would put out several notices, an explanation of how the management is being switched over to the county, and it would become a full branded county park.
So fully under our.
I don't think we have any intentions of changing the name, but signage, all of that.
All that
would
becomes
change,
county.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or input, any comments? For those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item up is number 12, the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Move forward with the consent agenda that includes the new item for committee.
Do I hear a second? I'll make a second. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Next item up is executive session. I'm making a motion for contractual matters, also boards and commission applications. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor, moving into executive session, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Okay, typically after this vote, we'll kind of mingle around a little bit, so this is a great chance for us to answer your questions if you have any questions, or you want to chat with your counselor. So we'll take about a short break for about 10 minutes, then we'll get back to it. Thank you very much.